Coast, your local forecast. Weatherscope.
A storm system that dumped snow on the southeast is now charging northward up the eastern seaboard, bringing with it rain and snow. Good evening and welcome to Weatherscope. I'm Kim Perez. Now, for more information on this Appalachian snowstorm, we turn to Jeff Morrow in the Forecast Center for a complete update. Jeff.
Thanks, Kim, and indeed, you're exactly right. It is an Appalachian snowstorm. That is where all the heavy snow has been, either in the Piedmont, the foothills on the eastern side, or up on into the mountains. And in places like West Virginia, it's striking how in the eastern part of the state you've had upwards of a foot of snow. In the western part of the state, barely anything at all. So it really is a sharp cutoff, and we'll get into that more in just a moment. Let's go ahead and show you the whole setup here first. Put the radar satellite composite into motion. Our main low pressure area is really starting to take over now just off the southern Jersey coast and rapidly deepening, in other words, gaining strength. I want you to notice this big long area of moisture which is wrapping all the way around the storm. Now some of that moisture is actually starting to make its way into New England, and it's no surprise that that's where our heavy precipitation is. We have had a lot of snow, as I mentioned, here through the central parts of the Appalachians, and here is just a few of the sites that we just recently put together. Renwick, West Virginia, I believe that's in Monroe County in the extreme southeast corner of the state, about a foot. Blacksburg about 7, Beckley at 5, Roanoke at 5, and even Charlotte earlier this morning, right for rush hour, ended up with about 3 inches of snow. Now we're covering both aspects of this snow, both the rain and the wind on the coast and the snow inland, and we have 2 crews, one in each of those areas. First of all, let's go to Jim Cantore. He's in the snowy side of the storm. Jim, I see the snow is finally coming down.
Oh, Jeff, let me tell you, man, this is the stuff that ski dreams are made of right here. We've got your fine powdery snow coming on down. It continues to come down in a hurry, and it's coming down enough so that we've seen the roads get covered in about 15 to 20 minutes. Let me show you what's going on here. You know, the roads earlier on were wet as a result of maybe a dusting that came through about 4 o'clock this afternoon, but those have since obviously been not snow covered, and now since we've just gotten back into the snow, we were easily get it piling on the roads again. But I'll tell you right now, the Pennsylvania Turnpike is loaded and ready for this storm. As we made our way from Harrisburg all the way over to here, Bedford, which is where we are now, which is east of Pittsburgh, about 120 miles or so, you know, they had pre-positioned road crews here and there and ready to go. One more shot of our mass cam. You can look down the road here, and you can see that the snow is coming down and obviously reducing visibilities here quite quickly, I might add. The snow is coming down pretty heavily. Jeff, this is not the worst aspect of the storm, at least yet. as our coastal storm deepens and begins to throw the moisture back in, obviously the snow element will once again become the big story. But it's really been the wind and the rain along the coast, and that's where Mike Seidel is on the Jersey Shore this evening. Mike, give us the latest from your vantage point.
Yeah, Jim, we're on the coast here at Sandy Hook, New Jersey, and the wind is whipping at 50 miles an hour, maybe pushing 60, which is easily tropical storm force, very strong tropical storm force gust winds. The rain is blowing horizontally. We've got temperatures in the low 40s, so no threat of any ice or snow here like back where you are, Jim, in Bedford, but just heavy, heavy rainfalls. Wind chills are in the teens, and as you can see, it is really howling now. The storm is down off the South Jersey shore, so it's not even here yet. Pressures have been falling rapidly, and I tell you, this rain hits you in the face. It feels like you're being sandblasted. Part of it may be the sand blowing in off the dunes. No threat of any beach erosion here. The beach is wide enough, but over on the western shore, Long Island, high tide at Stamford coming up just after 11, so watch out for some maybe minor coastal flooding. We're expecting this to continue for several more hours. Once the storm goes on by later tonight, we'll see the winds shift around to the south and southwest, and that'll be more of an offshore direction, and the rain will end. We'll get what we call the dry slot, and that's when the moisture will start to wrap back where Jim is. So Jeff, it's quite a night on the Jersey Shore. Not your best beach day by far.
Well, Mike, you volunteered to go out and cover this one, so you got to be careful what you wish for sometimes. You end up in a gale like that. All right, batten down the hatches. Mike Seidel will be back to you in about a half an hour with Jim Cantore as well. That was our 2 live crews, again, out there covering our storm all the way from the snowy side to the windy side. And joining me now here in the Forecast Center, Tom Moore, senior meteorologist. Tom, storm really cranking up, and where Mike is there, he is getting pummeled.
Oh, that's just awesome. I mean, if you love weather, you love seeing Mike get blown around and getting rain on him, but incredibly low pressure in the middle 980s and millibars. So if you have a home barometer, it's down around 29 inches, still falling. So the winds are going to pick up, and then, as you say, inland we have the snow, and the moisture is really backing in from New York State on into eastern New York, where it's cold enough to snow. So places like Albany and the Mohawk Valley now getting some snow.
All right, let's go ahead and show the folks what we're talking about, and we have a map prepared here. Again, high pressure to the north, and here's our big super developing low to the south, and it's the pressure difference in between that's really causing the wind that Mike is dealing with.
Right, that's the gradient. This isn't the strongest or coldest high that we've ever seen, but there's still a difference. There's higher pressure there, and this low is pretty formidable. So you have very, very low pressure on the coast. The winds just come on in out of the east or the east-northeast, coming right up Long Island Sound, getting that water piling up. And certainly storm warning, so nobody should be venturing out in this in their ships or boats, because wind gusts well over 50 miles an hour.
And coastal flooding warnings up too from Cape Cod Bay all the way down to Fenwick Island. Mike is right there, by the way, and he is feeling the full brunt of this deepening storm as the winds howl out of the northeast. Okay, Tom, earlier we were talking about 2 separate areas of precipitation with 2